Hello, my name is Janice Davies, and I'm a professional speaker and also a workshop facilitator. And I had a training and speaking business. And what happened is that I lost it during the global financial crisis. And instead of picking up the business again, what I chose to do was follow three amazing ideas I had received. And I have spent the last 10 or 12 years working on and writing the world's first interactive movie with phone apps and sing-alongs. However, it's not produced yet. So what I'm doing is I'm coming back into my field as a speaker and a teacher, because in essence, the movie is a big teaching tool. I was just wanting to do it out on the big screens and on television. And because my new presentations are going to be about incorporating the journey and the story from the movie, what I wanted to share, or what I decided to share, was that these workshops are something that I've done, in my training business a long time ago. Fabulous information in there. And rather than them just sitting here on my computer, I thought that I would give them away and you might be able to get some tips out of them. Now, this is a 3-hour workshop. This is the second one. I've already one dealing with difficult people and tricky situations. So if that's something you're interested in, look on my page, my LinkedIn page, and you'll be able to find it, or it is on my YouTube channel. And also, this is again another 3-hour. But what I'm doing, I'm actually condensing it down to about 30 minutes, I hope. The other one was 40 minutes. But where there is a lot of information on the page, you can stop the video and read it. I'm not going to go through it. In a workshop, I would, and we would discuss some of the things. And in a workshop, of course, I would have a whiteboard and that I would be explaining things further. So, as I say, this is an abridged version. But have a look at it and get some ideas, and happy to come. If you want somebody to come and run this in your company, I can do that. But hopefully that you'll learn something from it. So this is obviously boost your workplace attitude and create the can-do attitude. So what happens sometimes, I've been called into when there's been a change process that's been, gone through a company and everyone's sort of feeling a bit negative, or there's, just new management or something that's happening that they need to give everyone a bit of a boost. So let's go through it. Okay, so what we're going to look at is we're going to look what it is, and I'm going to use the proactive acronym just so we've got something to work through. So there's a little bit on each one here, so you're going to get some information on each of it. Of course, it starts with the attitude poem. This is amazing. I turned my mindset around 35 plus years ago after high school bullying for me, and I realized that my whole mindset was had gone down a negative mode because of the bullying. And so I had to concentrate on changing my mindset. So attitude, this poem has changed my life. And right down the bottom, you'll see it's about 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. And that's really exactly what it is, because if we let our mindset go on its own, it's going to go down the negative track. Ego will take over. And what we've got to do is to be able to put a halt to that, and to be able to stop that, and to be able to retrain our mind. It's like when we go to the gym, we retrain our body to be healthy. What we're doing here is retraining our mindset to be positive as well. And right at the beginning, I'm going to give you a tip here that I found, actually I'm going to give you two now, that were really, really important to me, is I always carried a little book of quotes. And so if I found myself starting to think negative, I would just open the book at whatever the quote was, and I would read the quote, and that would immediately change my energy, change my thoughts. And the reason for that is that we can only think one thought at a time. So let's make it a positive one. So that's one fabulous tip. The other one that I always say is think about, close your eyes and visualize on the top of your forehead a big black no in bold letters that we see on our computer, and think, no, I'm not going to think that thought. And then you replace the thought in your head with something more positive. So if you're thinking of something that's negative that's going to happen, and most of the things that we think and worry about never ever happen anyway, then you just replace that with something positive. So there we go, 2 tips to begin with. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the things on the positive mindset. And it really is up to you. So as I say, stop this if you want to. What I did in the workshop, everyone has an attitude and people fill this in, and this is just a, easy peasy, but it's just a sort of a brainstorming fun thing to do at the beginning of the workshop. And what's your view? So where do you think? And some of these are positive and some of these are negative. And so, you will see and work out the ones which are positive and which are negative. But it's interesting because people actually don't really realize sometimes that they are a negative thinker. But, the third one, for example, I don't deserve happiness. Well, behind all of that is just the programming, the belief system, and our self-esteem that's putting us down. Okay, so let's moving on. So again, as I say, you can please stop and read them all. So when we got a positive attitude, we are focusing on a solution. And one of the things that I've learned is that it's why I've written the movie and I've called it The Success Attitude. It's why I've written my memoirs as Success Attitude, is why I've renamed everything Success Attitude. I kept on looking for solutions. Sometimes, and even a health solution or a work solution or something, it might take half a dozen attempts at different aspects of looking at something or trying something before I actually found the solution. So positive attitude is keep on going until you've solved it. And, looking at all the things, who can I ask? And understanding that it's a temporary setback because you've got to this far and your level, if there's 112 steps in your life, you've got to step number 30 and you've just stopped there for a while and you've got to learn something before you can move up to 31. So it's just a temporary setback. Okay, so what sort of results now do you have? Now, everyone has bad things happen to them. Oh, that's right. I've got the sound in this one here. And, that's life. When we're born, we're here to explore and have a journey. And each one of us has got a soul, heart and soul. I'm adding a bit more into this, actually. But, we end up going into our family and we take on the beliefs of what happens in their thinking and has happened in their life, and we take it on for ourselves and we live with that until we find that things aren't working for us, and then we have an opportunity to change our beliefs and our mindset. So everything that happens that's not okay is an opportunity for you to move up from, now we're at 30, 31 step, where we're going to go up to 32 step out of 112 in our life. So it's understanding, it's when that happens, what are you learning out of it? Oops, we've gone back. I've gone backwards. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's go forward again. So when we go on to the negative attitude, we're focusing on the problem. And yes, it happens, and it's always going to happen to you. And if you don't fix the problem, then it's going to happen again. And for me, I'll just share my story. It was high school bullying. I married a bully. I didn't know I'd become a peacemaker. Then I learned everything. Then I took that learning that I had out into the workforce, and I've taught thousands of people about how to empower themselves with it. So it's changing that thinking that there is something here for me to learn. And if you don't learn it, you're just going to go round and round in a circle like that for the rest of your life. And really what you want to be at step number 33 now of your 112 steps. So what we've got to do is we've actually got to check our focus. And as I say, we do discuss this in a workshop. Are we focusing on the problem and are we stuck there, or are we now looking at the solution? And we do some work around that in the workshop. Okay, so then we've got to look at the things that we can change and that we can't change. So, obviously we can't change the weather as an easy example. So it's looking at some of these things here and assessing them for ourselves and understanding that it's actually up to us to change our thinking, to upskill ourselves. Some things we can't change, so therefore do we spend less time with those people at work who are negative and putting us down. And that's where we've got to sort of assess ourselves and what is causing us the negativity, or have we just got a negativity umbrella right across our whole life, and we need to examine that and decide which are the things that are okay and positive and which are the things that aren't. So as we're doing that, as we're changing and upgrading ourselves, we've got this fear, and it's a mentality that we have, and it's there all the time until we change our belief system. And it's the fear of failure, but we also have the fear of success. So I'm actually heading more into this workshop. So we've got to sort of balance that and then move forward, and then even think about the things that you have done in your past that you've already succeeded on, because we are getting programmed all the time if we allow it to happen. All these people here, and so they are giving us negative information. If you watch the news every night, 1% of it is positive. So we've watched an hour of negative news, and yes, it's newsy and we know what's happening, but it just makes us think, well, the world is in turmoil. There's nothing that we can do. And yes, there's a lot of turmoil, but you are actually in control of yourself, and you can still actually have a positive life yourself. I'm forgetting which way I'm winding. There's my mouse. So what's the point of all of doing this? Okay, so let's have a look. Some of the negatives, and it can be that the negatives are overwhelming. But as I said before, when people, and okay, this is in the workplace, what are the things that can be changed? But what are the things that can't be changed that, if you're employed to do a particular job, that's the job that you're employed to do. So how can you make that better? And I do recall in one position, I was on an hourly rate for tutoring, which was a pretty good rate. But by the time I'd done all the preparation and the marking, my hourly rate had dropped right down to very, very little. So I became smarter. I organized myself that I had a marking guide, and I could mark just like that. And so I was able to change the way that I worked so that my work situation was much better for me, rather than when I'd initially gone onto the job and had 28 hours of tutoring, but almost like 60 hours of work by the time I'd set everything up. So what can we change and what can't we change? So those are some of the things that we've got to think about. And so what we're asking in the workshop is people sort of write some answers down to this, and we discuss some of this, because it's actually doing a mental shift across their lives as to what really they are in control of. But, of course, we already have achieved some great things. Some people have children, so that's a great goal. A mortgage, they've saved up to travel. So it's about looking at the goals and the things that they've already achieved in their life, and remembering how that felt, so that they can hold on to that emotion. And I'll share one of mine. I remember when I was 10 and I was got the only person in the class that got 100% in the spelling test. And, I think that was really when I decided I really want to be a winner, because it felt so good. I was the only one that put the word N, the letter N, on the end of autumn. So, that was just something. And so we discussed this in the workshops. What have you done? And you are already achieving. Oh dear, I'm getting this wrong. So let's have a look at our goals that we have, because we have goals for different reasons. So we go through and we discuss some of that in the workshop. But really, is it just survival? Is the money for survival? Paying the mortgage, paying the kids for school, etc. Or have we got the money that we're earning from work that's going to give us a little bit of treat every now and then? And if that's what what we're looking at, is understanding that the value of that treat to us, while we're going back and working to get the money to pay the mortgage, etc., etc. So we do some discussions about that. Oh dear, I'll keep on going backwards I do apologize. It's getting late in the afternoon when I'm recording this one. Okay, so where do we spend most of our time? So again, I get people to do this exercise here. And that's a great exercise, and we do some discussions around that in the workshop. And the negative person, the person who's at the meeting that says nothing, does have the same power, because everyone else might say something, and then suddenly, if it's somebody running the meter, the chairperson, they might say, and they will focus on that one person who hasn't said anything, and might say, well, what is your thought? And so suddenly this person who has been too frightened to speak has suddenly got all the power. But you will always get people that pull down ideas, and again, in different personalities. We're not doing personalities in this workshop. I did it in the difficult people one in the other workshops. Some personalities are more prone to negativity because of the fact that they're analytical and everything comes at a cost, versus the right brain thinkers who are the ones with the ideas. And we need the ideas to move forward, but we've got to get the balance between the two things. And so that last one, we're going to be talking about lowest, because when you're got low self-esteem, which I didn't know I had it until I took a parenting course, and now I include it in every workshop I can, because if somebody has got low self-esteem, if they do the quiz, they see it and they know what they can fix, because I did not know why I was unhappy until I did the quiz. But also, if people have got high self-esteem, is fantastic. Then I invite them to go and shoulder tap and lift other people up as well, because the amount of searches on Google for low self-esteem, and it's not just adults, it's not just females, it's males, it's children, not so much children, but teenagers, students as well, looking for answers because they don't feel okay, but they're not quite sure what they have to do with it at times. So, okay, so positivities at work takes 5 positives to overcome a negative. So it's like looking at some of the things that can be done at work to increase positivity, and it's even just saying, that, and I'm always doing this. I was out somewhere yesterday and there was a room full of people, and there was an elderly man coming in with, what do you call those walker things, and a lady with a crutchy walking stick trying to hold the door open and lean on her walking stick, and there were a lot of people in there that could have helped and just got up and held the door open for this lady. And I was walking past, so it's something that I did. So that helping other people with a small gesture like that is a positive thing to do. And you can do it by saying, well, you look nice today, or did you have a nice evening last night? Or, it's easy to be able to be positive at work. And it doesn't always have to be about something that's happening at work, but it can be just, something else that's positive. Right, we're moving now. Okay, so let's moving on to the confidence. And this, as I say, is vital, and I include this in every workshop. So if people are negative, often they have got low self-esteem, and so you can read through these later on. I've been there, done that. I didn't know that I had it, so that's why it's critical. That's why the movie was a big teaching tool, to be able to share that with people as well. If you want to do the quiz, which I have not included in here, and actually in the workshop maybe I do include it, if you want to do the self-esteem quiz, feel free to contact me, direct message me. It is on my website somewhere, but flick it through, flick me a message and I'll share it with you. So people with low self-esteem, these are some of the ways that they live. And the other thing is with the perfectionism, it's like there's only one way to do it. It's my way, which is a bit like the rigidity. It's like everything's got to be so perfect, and if it's not, well, then it's not okay. And in that perfectionism, it becomes negative. The violence can be mental, spiritual, emotional, and if anyone is ever getting physical violence, I suggest always go to your HR officer, go to a counsellor, go to a church, go somewhere and find some help. So these are some of the traits of people with a negative attitude. And although I didn't have those when I found that I had it wasn't so much a completely negative attitude, it was low self-esteem that I had. But, certainly a few of those things I was experiencing them as the peacemaker. I was jealous and envious because everyone else seemed to have a perfect life and be happy except me. And it wasn't until I found my problem that I could start fixing it. So let's have a look at this here. So I'll just go back one step before I go through these. So when I did the self-esteem quiz, I graded myself as minus 20 out of 10. Now I'm 10 out of 10. So my journey has been to be able to stand here now, to be able to, stand up in front of any producer, Lionsgate, any company, and say, well, this movie of mine is the great. And I have to have the confidence to be able to do that. And obviously, a lot of people have a fear of public speaking. Well, no, I don't anymore. I'm happy to get up and share and teach others. So these are some of the ingredients. So you can read through those. I'm not going to go through them all. And this is how we kind of work. And it's like the mentoring, I'm always learning a new thing that's going to just fine-tune me. So where am I having the best life that I can have? And that's a person with high self-esteem is always open to learning and teaching others as well. And so this one here is where we can help people. So if our values are aligned to who we are and we are being that person, and we have to go on a journey to be that person, then we are supported by others and we are being supportive to other people as well. So we're in the good flowing, good feeling zone. Whereas somebody that's not there and somebody that's negative, they're going to be always pulling them down or always trying to pull it down. Oh, why are you doing that work? It's not your work. Oh, you work 10 minutes longer or whatever. So their mentality is quite different from yours. And you've got to be able to stay in your own lane. And if you are in the destructive mode, to be able to move across to it and know what it's like to be feeling good as well. So as you do that, the key to your success is there is the Ziegler line, and I've been on that Ziegler line for sure, absolutely. When we start our journey of personal development, we may know what we don't want. We don't want to work certain things, but then how can we improve those things that we've got at work? Some we can't, some we can. But for ourselves personally, the more that we aligned to ourselves, as I say, that's when we get, oops, I can't get my hands right, attuned to go down the road much smoother, and then it is just fine tuning. So whether it be at work or in your personal life, that's the same journey that you're going to be taking. And now I've added into that, and I've changed the order. I go soul, heart, mind and body. So it's like our soul and our heart. Our soul is our intuition, our heart is our passion, and then getting our brain to think different, getting our thoughts to work out how do we do what create that passion, because that's who we are, as our heart and our soul, is our passions and our guidance. How do we get those things that we love and then get our mind to work out and problem solve and make sure that we're able to do it? So back to outside challenges. We've talked about a few, but here's a few more here. We've got people always wanting to influence. Now, in our business, these are the 4 personality styles. Accounts are the owls, sales are the peacocks, customer service are the doves, and up the top are the leaders, who are the eagles. So all of these people are working together in a business. And if you think of those 4 birds that I mentioned, they've all got different traits. And would they get along well with each other? Well, no. So therefore, these different personalities and parts of the business don't get on as well. So it's about learning to understand those, which isn't what we're covering in this one, but it's being open to learning that as well. And I do more of that in my Dealing with Difficult People and Tricky Situations workshop. And it is amazing. Out of all the topics that I've covered, the people have given me the most comments and love the most about the personality profiling. And what I do is I make it easy, simple to remember, so they can use it, understand themselves, understand their colleagues, and also you can use it with your partners and your family as well, which is a lot of fun. They don't need to know they're getting analysed, but you can analyse them if you want to. Okay, so what we do is our past decisions, our values, our beliefs on what our parents had, and some of those are from their parents before them, who are from their parents, so these things pass down through the generations. And then in the world we're living in now, in the work situation we're living in now, it doesn't work. And so we've got to be able to be alert to what we are thinking and whose actions, and are we living outdated actions, and this is tricky with cultures. But anyway, it's about being able to analyze yourself and see what's happening. So what we're wanting to do is do some communication with some things. So we've got to be able to talk to people. We don't always have to do it on technology, although it's very tempting sometimes, isn't it? And these are some of the communication skills that we've got to be able to learn. Open questions: what, when, where, why, how. Listening and not thinking of the answers. So these are, again, another selection of ideas that need to be thought about so that you can communicate effectively and openly. And again, I follow those, I include those in the dealing with difficult people. So when we're doing this, oops, we've got noises in here as well again. Just some things that you can see. Everything here is something that I've done as I've gone ahead and wanted to teach myself. To change myself, change my life, change my thinking, so I could be, and effectively I did do it because I had two small daughters. I was a single mum when they were 3 and 18 months old when I walked out of a marriage, and I did everything for them first, because in my mind, I am and I was the best role model that they could have. And I know that. And as a mother, that's who we are. And we are that as a father as well. And so are we being the best person we can because we are the role model for the children? So I've done all of these so I could be that person for my children. And then it was for me as well. Okay, so let's have a look. So what are we doing? So what's success to us? And oops, there's our ants working. I like this one. So it's who we're capable of being. And it's interesting. We get shoulder tapped. I call this shoulder tapping, somebody in our life shoulder tapping us. And one of my first ones was when I was at Play Centre. And I always call her the angel in white cardigan. I wrote an article about her and it was in the Reader's Digest. Because what happened is that she saw in me leadership skills and capabilities that I didn't see myself. So I was shoulder tapped to do the parenting training, and then I was asked to be a tutor and to teach that. And from there, that's when my teaching career started. So if you think you've been shoulder tapped in your life, and you probably have, did you step up into it, or did you step back from it because you didn't think you were capable of it? But remember, it's almost like the universe is shoulder tapping you and saying, hey, we think you can do this. And then it's up to you to sort of say, oh yeah, I'm ready, because other people are guiding you forward. It doesn't all have to come from you. Okay, so our motivation and our attitude as well. So, what's success to you? And I'll share this is a new story, not what I was sharing in the workshop back then, but it's so that you understand. So I've spent all this time writing a movie. I haven't actually got a producer. It is cutting edge. I'm a trailblazer. It's a world first. Kind of the world's not ready for it yet, but I've created it. So I had to come up to and analyze myself and think, am I a success because I've written it, or am I a failure because I haven't actually got a producer yet? And so, my conclusion was I'm a success because I've written it. The product is made. It's huge. So that's a success. So that's amazing that I've achieved it. So you think, what does it feel like for you? And that's where, and when we do this in a workshop, we go through and it covers things that worked, but we also include other bits and pieces as well. So how can you create things that work? So if you think something can be changed, it's up to you to be able to do something about it. Maybe it's even that you're going to be the person that wipes out the microwave every Monday, and it's just a nice little thing that you do. Maybe you want to create a roster for who cleans their microwave every day. So it's bringing up ideas that are going to create a better atmosphere at work where you are feeling more positive, and even if it's like one of the things I've got some attitude e-posters. I mean, if you would like them, contact me and I'll email them out to you. You just put them up on the wall. But the fact that you've got positive quotes on your wall, and you change them every day, other people are going to see that. And so it's the little things that you can do as well at work, and talk to your HR manager, or talk to people that you can you have got contact with, who are able to help you to do some of these things. And so let's look for some solutions. So what you've got to do is check out what it is. As I say, it's not always just one thing. It may be something that is impacting you negatively, but it actually affects all of your life. And whereas you've got other areas that are positive, which I've mentioned. So look at the things that you can do. I've mentioned some of those there. But be willing to think differently and act differently. And, having positive quotes for me has been just the best thing. I still love quotes, but it just means that you're changing your mindset. And how to keep saying yes. So these are just a whole lot of other bits and pieces, fun things, but also very relevant things. Ask for help down the bottom. Be a guide, a mentor, a teacher, a coach, and think back to where you were shoulder tapped, and wonder why, and realize that actually people saw skills and attributes in you that you didn't see yourself. And so where we've had some negativity at work, what are the things that you can do to be able to turn that around, to be able to create a better atmosphere? And I know we've had no discussion on this, but we do have discussion on this in the workshop, these things here. And of course, always look on the bright side of life and see what it is that you can change. And that's entirely up to you. So that is just a very abridged version with me just running through the slides. Stop and have a look at them. If that is something that you would like for your company, or you would like some more information on it, please contact me. Not that phone number that down there. This is an old workshop, but either message me on LinkedIn or email me at janice@attitudespecialist.com. janice@attitudespecialist.com. Excuse me. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea about some of the things we do when we do the Attitude Workshop. Thank you for your time.